Hello Skillr Boxers. Today we're breaking down the biggest what if in boxing. Transitioning effortlessly from defense to offense and offense to defense. Dmitry Pirog had one of the most skillfully sophisticated styles in boxing. His fluid switch-hitting style was a nightmare for opponents. Due to his sudden retirement, remains largely unfigured out, at least until today. He went by the name Grandmaster due to his passion for chess. This enthusiasm for the positional and strategic approach to chess translated directly into his boxing style. While his career was cut short due to a back injury, Dmitry Pirog left a lasting mark on the sport with his complex style. Today, we'll analyse exactly how it worked so you can better understand it and potentially apply it to your own style. Before moving on, we have a quick word from our sponsor, Boxing, the all-in-one training platform designed for learners, active fighters and coaches. The latest app version adds a new Fighter of the Week category. Every Monday, a new workout with different combinations and movesets is released. Beginner workouts will call out signature heavy bag combos. Advanced workouts add signature defensive techniques and movement patterns. In time, this list will be filled with world champions, rising stars and Hall of Famers. But first up, we have the legendary Manny Pacquiao and 20 lightning fast combinations. Get into fighting shape today, download Pro Boxing Training and dominate the opposition. Boxing stance. Dmitry Pirog was a tall, long-limbed middleweight. He fought with a wide base and would constantly change his guard. Pirog stood apart from the more typical Eastern European style. As he explained himself, he was influenced by other styles, including the American style.
You fight in a very different style than your typical Eastern European style. You kind of slit, you use the shoulder roll. Where did that come from?
My trainers, which is Vyacheslav Nepogodin and Viktor Petrochenko, they have a lot of experience and they've given him a lot of the non-European style that he has. He's obtained a lot from learning from them.
Pirog would usually use the lead hand to probe in an open stance, but constantly gave different looks, switching between a high guard and a Philly shell. He mixed these guards smoothly, blocking and using the shoulder roll. He controlled every guard with precision and knew exactly when and how to move his hands to block or especially to parry shots. Someone once said Pirog is like a ballet dancer on the lower half and a mime on the upper half, and that's a great description. His ability to block, parry and react to quick combinations was otherworldly, allowing him to work from different angles without being too exposed. Head slots. To understand how Pirog used head slots, we first have to understand what they are. Shout out to Rush James, who first showed this representation on YouTube. Just like a chessboard, head movement has its own positions. In this case, there are 6 main positions. Again, like chess, they're categorized by rows and columns. Here, we'll classify the 3 columns as lead, center and rear. We'll use lead and rear to represent the lead hand side and the rear hand side instead of left and right, as those terms flip depending on the stance. This way it works for both orthodox and southpaw. Then on the rows, we have high and low. Lastly, we'll have a head slot known as PB to refer to the pullback, which would be behind the center high slot. Let's look at a quick example of how this works. In this case, Pirog starts at RH, then moves straight low to RL, then to the other side to LL, then back to center position CL, then does high with a pullback PB, then back down low to the rear side RL. Pirog would constantly change head slots, so his head wouldn't stay a static target. This made him elusive and much harder to hit. When the opponent wants to throw at CH, Pirog is already moving to RL. Then when he wants to catch him at RL, Dmitry is already moving to LL. Then when he finally attempts to catch him at LL, Pirog is already gone.
I totally disagree with this.
The main idea is to keep changing head slots, not staying in one position too long. And when he did, he'd use his guard to block or deflect any incoming punch. But these head slots also helped him prevent counters. As you'll notice in this clip, Pirog was very well trained defensively and would always make a defensive move after punching. Whether it was a dip or a roll or covering up, he constantly ensured he was defensively responsible after attacking. By changing head slots after punching, not only would he avoid a counter, he'd also load up a counter of his own. To understand weight distribution better, we can establish that the head slots LH and LL, as they are the lead hand side, will load up the lead hand. And the head slots RH and RL, as they are on the rear hand side, will load up the rear hand. The lower head slots, following the same logic as before, will load up uppercuts, as their motion goes from down to up. By load up, we mean that the punch can be thrown from that position without needing to prepare it first, as that position is already the starting point of the punch. Pirog would change head slot to avoid an opponent's counter and simultaneously load up his own, throwing with inertia. That's what made his transitions from defense to offense so fluid and mesmerizing.
I like what I'm seeing right now. This guy is good. He's got Jacob.
Elaborate footwork. Elaborate can be defined as involving many carefully arranged parts or details, which perfectly describes Dmitry Pirog's footwork. Pirog's footwork included pivots, side steps, shuffles and shifting. What made it so elaborate was how he combined all of these techniques seamlessly. His hallmark was the shifting technique, a footwork move where you change stances by transferring weight from one leg to the other. It's done with a pivoting motion, where the back foot drives forward and becomes the new front foot in the opposite stance. Pirog would often shift to evade punches, pushing off the front leg, driving it back and switching stances in the process.
Такого давления Мунго сможет выдержать недолго. При этом, конечно, прекрасный левый апперкот.
Another way he'd evade punches was by shuffling, a hop or bounce of the feet to a new position. Instead of simply stepping back, pushing off the front leg, Pirog would shuffle. In this case, the weight is on the back leg. He pushes up, drives the front foot back, and lands with the weight on that front foot.
In round 3.
He often used this as a transition after slipping punches. After using head movement and ending up on the back foot, he could smoothly transition into a shuffle.
Look at the defense.
This is like sitting on something.
But he used these techniques offensively too. While shifting, Pirog would shorten the distance and throw off his opponent. Always defensively responsible, he often punched mid-shift, starting in one stance, shifting to close distance, and finishing the combination from the new stance. Even more impressive, he'd sometimes combine shifting with shuffles. He'd shift first, switching stances, and then transition into a front step shuffle or a back step shuffle, depending on which side he wanted to exploit.
Дмитрий сразу видно, что он уверенно захватывает инициативу в правый глаз, и похоже, что у него повреждение. Ну и третье, что в общем тоже должно нас выдерживать недолго. Но при этом, конечно, вот прекрасный левый апперкот.
Fluid punches. While his defense had more of a Western flavor, his offense followed the characteristic Eastern European style. He kept his shoulders relaxed and whipped his arms, only tensing at the last second.
You got the kid Gever from Armenia who's in.
This loose punching style allowed him to flow through combinations and overwhelm his opponents. His long reach added to the effectiveness of these combinations from long range. He was able to accurately target his opponent's weak spots, hurting them with flurries of well-placed punches.
Надо учитывать интересы зрительного зала.
Уже не только за дальность полета, а за красоту полета.
But this intricate style of fighting did come with a downside. Flaws. It's difficult to point out flaws in Pirog's style, as his career was cut short and we rarely saw him in real adversity. However, the shifting technique has its own inherent risks. When switching stances or shifting, if done correctly, you can end up square to the opponent, with both feet next to each other. This puts you off balance, out of position, and unable to defend or absorb punches properly. Since shifting involves crossing your feet, opponents can exploit this and catch you in a vulnerable moment. However, Pirog usually stayed defensively responsible, often punching or feinting before shifting, which helped him do it safely. And with all that said, it was that complex footwork that made his style so beautiful to watch. Now, we want to know your opinion. How do you think Pirog would have done against the other 160-pound boxers of his era if his career had continued? Let us know. And if the video was interesting, you can find more on our channel. And to your left, we have chosen a video that we thought you may like.